Hello, welcome back to From Soft Serve. It's been a little while, and this is probably not the video any of my subscribers expected, but I made a ReShade preset for Final Fantasy X, or Final Fantasy X. Does anyone call it X? It's like the iPhone X. I call it the X, but apparently it's the 10. And I have never played a Final Fantasy game. I know, it might blow your mind, but I've known of them, I've admired them, I just have not actually... Turn-based generally is not my thing. I know some of them are real-time or like hybrid, but Final Fantasy X, I've been watching Snowbike Mike, one of my favorite streamers, content creators, people on the internet, frankly. He's been playing through Final Fantasy X for the first time, and I've been watching the whole playthrough, and it's amazing. This game is awesome. I love the story. I love like the really dark themes that they kind of go into of hating your father and alcoholism and identity and how tribal everyone can be. It's so good. And the music, are you kidding me? Which is of course like the least surprising thing to say ever about a Final Fantasy game. But anyway, I made a ReShade preset because I knew that Final Fantasy X had a bit of an issue with the remaster where the actual character models are not as good as the PS2 version. I'm not entirely sure why. Maybe in the comments you guys can let me know as to why they made them look worse. Did they take it from another version of 10? Like a Vita port or something? Like, I don't know. It's really weird because seeing them side by side, the PS2 ones look much better, in my opinion at least. But I think the biggest thing about the remaster that surprised me, let's go outside, is the lack of like post-processing. And so I decided that I wanted to make a ReShade that was inspired by the PS2 version. So here we are with Waka Flocka Flame giving me a sword, which is awesome. I know this game was pretty groundbreaking on PS2 as far as like, especially the series, it really pushed graphics farther than any of the previous titles. And I will say the texture quality is really quite improved in the remaster. I think that's like the one thing you can definitely point out, but like everything else. And so far I've been using my ReShade in this video. And we'll turn it off, and this is what the game is, except for the aliasing. Don't worry about that. That's because I have to turn off MSAA to actually have any sort of access to the depth buffer. But let's check real quick. Oh yeah, I forgot you have to actually use the keyboard to get to the settings. And if we go to video, you know, everything is maxed, but I do of course have the anti-aliasing turned off. They even have a post-processing form of anti-aliasing, which is very much not good. I did have the AO turned off because I was doing it through MXAO, but I'm actually curious. If we turn that back on, I'm not sure the AO makes a huge difference. But anyway, I think the biggest problem visually with the remaster is that it doesn't have any depth of field. So you can see everything is in focus. And then when you turn my ReShade on, it softens the image, yes, which is, I would say, harkens back to the PS2, but also it has a focal depth of field, and I can actually show you. We have TAA, which, you know, will handle the anti-aliasing, which does blur the image more than MSAA. MSAA is, frankly, if you just want really good anti-aliasing, you just enable that. But then I would not have any access to the depth buffer because of how MSAA works. So I did turn that off. A little bit of trade-off there. So I have that, and then large-scale perceptual obscurance or radiance, which you can see sort of balances the luminance based upon where the light is on screen. We have ambient lighting, and then you can see this provides a really good coverage of ambient occlusion. And here you can see the raw AO sort of view. And we have vibrance, and we have the focal depth of field. The depth of field is by far my favorite part of this. It's a very subtle ReShade, as I think when I make any ReShade, I obviously want to respect the original game envisioned, so you don't want to just... I don't know. I'm so opposed to reshades that deep fry the image. I think that gives reshade presets a really bad name. And so I usually have a very light touch. But basically I can hit the... One thing I recommend for Final Fantasy X specifically is the menus and cutscenes. So whenever it goes into a full motion video thing, as this game did, you want to disable the reshade effects, because it doesn't... Obviously it's not rendering those cutscenes, it's just that is an actual movie, and therefore you're going to want to turn that off. So basically in the settings you can very easily set an effect toggle key. So anytime that happens, you literally just hit the toggle key, which I use the tilde, and it just boop, turns it off. But you can see here, it, a little bit more vibrant, just slightly warmer tone, just barely. But I think it's the depth of field that is easily the best part of this for me. I think it just adds a cinematic quality to the game that with the remaster it was lacking. Because I've looked at footage of the PS2 game and it seems like it was using depth of field. But the remaster, I'm like, I just don't see it. So you'll see how it looks in battles as well. The depth of field's not perfect. Yeah, you can see here it lost track. Yeah, okay. Let me try a different depth of field. Crap. I haven't actually had this be an issue, because I know the battles have different camera angles. And so the focal depth of field here actually just completely lost. Oh, I had something turned on. That's why it looked weird. Oh, shit. Might have to update that. So even here, now this is... I should have said this at the beginning. This is a very personal preference type reshade. I mean, I would argue all reshades are like that. But I'm a sucker for the PS2, and original Xbox era, and even the 360 and PS3 era. I like bloom, I like depth of field, I like the cinematic quality, and that is certainly more blurred than what the default game looks like here, with admittedly without MSAA, but realistically, even then, there's no depth of field, and so I just much prefer how this looks. So let's do an attack. I always forget that B is A and A is B. But I gotta say that I might actually need to load up Final Fantasy games. I honestly thought my first one would be like Final Fantasy VII Remake. But honestly, Final Fantasy X fucking rips. This game is awesome. Mainly because I love the story. I think the gameplay is not as much my jam. I'm not a big turn-based guy, but I have to admit it's pretty sweet. Yeah, you can see the depth of field is still goofing on some of the UI here, so it's not perfect. I had another depth of field I was using. It's hard because the depth of field, you can try to do autofocus, so that way it can adjust to what is being rendered in-game. But obviously it's a lot easier when you actually are modding the game directly, like I do with the Dark Souls games, where I can actually control the depth of field based upon what area you're in. This is why ReShade is difficult, and I think presents an interesting challenge, because you have to sort of do a very broad sort of preset that can be applied in every single case in the game. That's incredibly difficult, but it's actually just a really fun challenge, I think, for me. And yeah, there's a ton. I've downloaded most of the shaders that are available, and so there's a lot of different depth of field options. I need to basically, you go in and you can actually toggle like manual focus versus just static focus, or manual focus versus autofocus. And that is a difficult one. So we'll go back to the focal depth of field, but I'm going to update the preset because it is catching some of the UI. Now, of course, you can also just, I need to set up like rest, which is something where you can actually have it not render certain effects on certain parts of the game. And so that's also how you can have it skip the UI. So I do want to do that. But first I was just focusing on making the actual changes in the ReShade. And basically it just looked more like the PS2 game, frankly. throw your... Also, Blitzball fucking rocks. Can anyone in the comments tell me, has Square Enix given a good reason as to why they have not done a, like, standalone Blitzball game? Because I feel like that would be really popular. I don't know. Also, the music for Blitzball, are you kidding me? It's Uematsu, right? He did, like, an absolute banger for Blitzball. I mean, obviously, he's the GOAT. That's me not even being a Final Fantasy person. I am aware. So yeah, you can see the autofocus takes a little bit to cut in. But you can see here, I think it's massively improved with the depth of field. It just focuses you on what's happening. And then the bloom changes in luminance and MXAO. It's subtle. But you can see me here flipping back and forth. I still got to tweak it. But it just feels like it's adding post-processing to the game when it completely lacked it. Here you can see it's actually not having an issue anymore with the little menu on the right here that says like R2, Mon A. Now it's not having an issue with it. The autofocus is a little goofy, so I might do a manual focus. But realistically, I'll probably just do something that skips the UI. That's always been a little wonky to set up based upon the game. Certainly will do that. I did post this on Nexus Mods. Also, if you're watching this and you've made it 12 minutes into the video, I did update my Bloodborne mod and my Dark Souls 2 Second Sin mod. So those are updated. If you follow me on Twitter or Blue Sky, I do post updates to that, rather than just videos. I don't know. I don't always think that videos are the best avenue for that always, because sometimes I just feel like there's not enough to make a video about, if that makes sense. But elements, we love to see it. I feel like Waka is he wiping his nose like 4 times in a row? Oh, okay, occasionally he wipes his nose. Oh yeah, does he have a cold? Hey, what's up, Luna? Black magic? Yeah. Maybe I do like turn-based. Yeah, you can see the leaf texture right here. Not great. Now, I have looked into extracting the textures from the game, and I found an unpacker that does go into the files. But then, even when I got to the DDS files, like for the textures, they were stored as a certain format of DDS textures that is not easily undone. So apparently you can do that, because I obviously can see that there's opportunity here for higher res textures for the environment. And God, bump mapping would be insane. Like, look at this leaf texture on the ground. If we could get a normal map on this thing, amazing. So let me know in the comments if you know of really good Final Fantasy modding, like, hookups. Also, should I do a ReShade for every Final Fantasy? Because I'd actually like to do that. Hell, maybe I just get into Final Fantasy games in general. Because they're so fun to work on. And obviously they're some of the greatest games ever made. They never spoke to me, you know, as a non-turn-based jabroni. Also, what's up with the game running at like 30 FPS? I haven't really seen a whole lot talked about that, but I'm like, what's up with the game running at 30? Also, you'll see in these cutscenes that are in-engine, the depth of field, I think, is I know I've said it a million times, but the depth of field is easily my most favorite part of this, because look how it blurs the foliage in the distance, and you get this nice distant look from the top, like a mountain, instead of where literally everything is just in focus. Like, to me, that's easily the biggest change here. It's just literally the depth of field. But everything else goes along with it, of sharpening. You can see the MXAO underneath his hair. So it just adds a little bit extra, but man, it's definitely the character models that I think are fine in the remaster, but once you see the PS2 ones, you're kind of like, well, shit. Oh, okay, I meant to save, my guy. I meant to save. I still gotta tweak the depth of field to really nail it, but it's hard to set it up for every possible angle in the game. Oh, I'll pray. Ooh, that was probably the wrong move, right? Because Titus is kind of an idiot. He's a lovable idiot, but he's kind of a goof, right? He just runs in. Because I've seen like 25 hours so far of the playthrough. No spoilers or anything, but the story gets crazy. But Tidus is definitely seems kind of stupid sometimes, where he'll just run in and say something without thinking, and it's like, oh, okay. But overall, he has good intentions. I definitely like him overall as a protagonist. But it's crazy like how much younger he looks in the remaster versus like the PS2 game. Because I feel like the PS2 game, in game, his model matches much better to the cutscenes that were like CG, right? And in this, it's really weird when they cut into like the CG cutscenes, because I'm like, oof, that does not look like the in-game model that much. It's really weird. And it seems like they didn't re-render the cutscenes, but yeah, I mean, just look at the added, you know, ambient occlusion here and the depth of field. Like, I think that to me is just, oh, it's so good. I've said it 5 million times, but it's just genuinely, oh shit. Something is written here. Okay, well, I'm not going to try to say that. They created their own language for this game, right? Hey, CG cutscene. See, this is where you want to turn off the toggles. Yeah, see, he looks totally different in the cutscenes. But you're going to want to turn this off. So I just do my effects toggle, easy peasy lemon squeezy, and then let it run. Because it's basically, the MXAO is going to see the last depth information that it had. Oh shit, chat. Oh, this is this guy. This is when you get him? I already forgot his name. But I just saw like a big reveal of his storyline like 30 hours later. This guy has a cool story. He's also absolutely yacked out of his mind. Are you kidding me? Look at those leg muscles. That's insane. He is jacked. Okay. I was hoping I had like a special ability. Don't have to get my bar up. Okay, so those are my potions. Weapon. Brotherhood. Okay, I'm going to assume that was a move of some sort. That's buckler, weapon, longsword. Oh, I did switch to Brotherhood. Right. Okay, don't roast me in the comments, guys. I don't play these games at all. But I probably should. Final Fantasy X, I feel like I'm already seeing the gameplay. So I don't feel like I have to play it. I think that's been my experience with Final Fantasy games thus far. Is I've seen playthroughs of Final Fantasy VII Remake, I've seen Rebirth, I've seen 16, but I really haven't ventured into the other ones as far as like watching playthroughs. I tend to do that for games that I don't feel like I'll play on my own because I don't think it'll be as fun for me, but I love the story. So if someone else is playing it, I'm totally in, right? I did that for Last of Us, where I was like, I definitely don't want to play this. But I do want to see a playthrough. Resident Evil has been a similar series like that, where I don't want to play it myself, really, but I like the story. All right. Let's see if I can beat this guy, and then I'll end the video on that. There'll be a link in the description if you want to download the ReShade preset. It's obviously not perfect, but I think it's pretty cool. Oh yeah, I had my ReShade preset turned off. Whoop. Okay, let's attack. Well, I'm getting worked. Also, you can see I named my guy TIDIIXB. Don't remember why. Genuinely don't remember why. Oh, did we make it? We did it. He was just testing me. Yeah, look how this changes the luminance of the... that's where the... large-scale perceptual experience of radiance really kind of kicks in, is it likes to put the brightness where it thinks it should be, and then it occludes areas where it thinks should be dark. It's not perfect. I also noticed with the PS2 version that it overall had a little bit more saturation in the faces. Tidus here I think is a little bit too much. It's close. Not bad. Also, his hair look like bananas. Is that a new? You can see in the background here, the MXAO is still picking up on the last depth information it had. So if you're ever on a menu, luckily these menus you're not on for very long. So you kind of just skip, and then you're back in the game. But just a nice little boost to cinematic quality. That's the goal. Ooh, do we have like hidden little items? Nope, maybe not. Yeah, this is like the perfect example of no depth of field, depth of field. Now, whether you feel that's too strong, luckily it's all editable. So you can go in here and actually just disable whatever the fuck you want. You could also go in here and just change the scale of the depth of field. This one I don't think I like as much. The other depth of field I was using had a little bit more toggles for manual focus, autofocus, and whatnot. Oh man, okay. Pokemon all over again. I think Pokemon's the last like turn-based game I played. Like Pokemon Red, which I know is going to be a throwback. That's insane. But Pokemon Red, I think, is the last one I played. Switching members during battle. Got it. Come on. Oh, Yuna? Oh, I didn't mean to switch Tidus out. Okay. Summoning Aeons? Oh, shoot. When Aeons take damage, their HP decreases. Should their HP reach 0, they will leave battle and become unavailable for a time. I'm literally just playing the game now, but I really love this game. It's so cool. The story is so fucking good. And I just love the themes and the music. And I don't know, it's fucking great. And the summons are just so over the top. And oh my god, we got Big Bird. Yeah, some of these textures definitely could use a little upscale, you know? We have Sonic Wings, Black Magic. What about Sonic Wings? Like these cutscenes for the summons, and some of the ones you get later, insane. Yeah, you can see this camera angle, the depth of field is not loving. So I gotta edit that. What is the enemy? Cast Black Magic spells. So this is from the Yuna, right? No? Okay, the summon is the one doing the Black Magic. Oh, no, that was Lulu. Okay, well, we'll just do Sonic Wings again. Sick. It does feel like I'm playing Pokemon. I know that's such a reductive, probably, example. Also, I just gotta end this video. Let's beat this guy. And then I'll end the video. But I think my next video, what should that be? I don't know. I've been working on Dark Souls 2 a lot, and I know that's not as popular as if I were working on Bloodborne or Dark Souls 1 or Dark Souls 3. I think all of those are more interesting to my subscribers, generally. So much fun working on Dark Souls 2. So much fun. Also, go sub to my Patreon if you want. If you got an inheritance from a rich uncle who just recently died, RIP, you know, and you came into like a bunch of money, maybe dump that in my Patreon, which is a weird way to say it. And then my cats will get fatter, and yeah, you get ad-free versions of these videos, and you know, Google Drive links for the mods. So you know, you get something. But shield or boost? Oh, yeah, I'll shield up. I guess. Maybe. Dude, how much health does this motherfucker have? I also don't know what he's weak to. Is he a ground type? Is he an air type? Also, I'm gonna have to edit this desktop audio a bit. It's probably too loud. Oh, shoot. I guess I'll just keep doing Sonic Wings. I need to get an overdrive, right? Yeah, I can see my bar leveling, or going up here. I'm assuming eventually I'm gonna get like a Super Mondo overdrive. Overdrive, oh shoot. Energy Ray, yes. Okay. And I think I have to do a button combo, right? Yep, I think I do. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, evidently not. I just have to get enough, and then I can absolutely overdrive the fuck out of that other beast. What the oh, I should've... I did not sub in other characters. Okay, that's my bad. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. If you have other games that you would want me to make a ReShade preset for, or just mod in general, you know, let me know. I do like to take little detours into other games. I'm gonna put like a poll on my Patreon to have people vote. Maybe it's just like a thread where they could drop a bunch of games that they would either want a ReShade preset of, maybe with context of like, here's why it needs one. Because there's plenty of games that have gotten remastered or re-released or something, and they lost something in translation. Similar to Shadow of the Colossus, where obviously the remake versus the original, it lost. Similar to Final Fantasy X here, bloom and, you know, the way that the PS2 presented that, and then it became very, very clean looking on PS4. And it lost some of that original look, so maybe let me know that. But anyway, thank you for watching, and also in the comments, let me know, when did you first play Final Fantasy X? Is it your favorite? Is it your top 5? What is your favorite Final Fantasy game? Is there a specific Final Fantasy game out of the bunch that you think would benefit the most from a ReShade preset, for instance? Once again, flipping on and off. And anyway, I'll see you later, and yeah, hope you are well, and continue to be well. And if you're not well now, you'll be well in the future. All things pass. Or I think one of my favorite sayings is, this too shall pass. That's always a good one whenever things suck ass. Is you can be like, you know what, it may not be good now, but it probably will be in the future at some point, and then shitty again. But there will be moments of greatness in between that, so I'll end on that.